Okay, so we'll start with Dr. Wright. So question 1 to Dr. Wright. The first question, since humanity includes all humans, how might we view DEI work from a human worth perspective?
Awesome. Well, first, thanks for having me. Feels good to be home, talking about things that I'm very passionate about. So thank you for the invitation. I also would like to say that that's a loaded question. In my ethics class, we spend all semester asking, what does it mean to be human? So I'll try to keep it to 5 minutes, Vanessa. So human worth may seem like a universal term that everyone understands and knows and agrees upon, right? But the truth is that even just our history in this country has shown us that that is not true. So it is Black History Month, so I'll just start with a few facts really quick. So you can start with the 3/5 compromise. Slaves were counted as 3/5 of the population in order to determine government allocations, so taxation, as well as policy and voting rights. And so that's really important to note, that it wasn't from the beginning that we all were viewed as a whole human. You can take it a little over 50 years ago with the Voter Rights Act. It was only then that something was legally determined to be discriminatory, and they were banning those practices at the voter booths. But we know that this year, that is still happening across our nation. And so when we think about the word human and humanity, it's really important to note that we might all think differently about that based on our experiences. So let's start there. How about we close our eyes, and I would like for you to visualize what you think humanity looks like. 15 seconds. Go. Okay. So you don't have to say this out loud, but just a little self-reflection. What first came to your mind? What did that picture look like? What didn't it look like? Who was there? Who wasn't there? Who came up first? Who came up last? These are all things to think about when you think about your own perception of what humanity looks like. And that's where this work starts. It starts with ourselves, right? And so one of my colleagues from the University of Mississippi, he's the vice chancellor, associate vice chancellor of DEI. His name is Dr. E.J. Edney. He sent me an article that I think is really powerful by Jeffrey Hinchliffe out of the UK. And I wanted to read a quote from him he did an article about intrinsic human worth, which I thought is really powerful. And Vanessa's going to send out all these resources afterwards, but I'll read a quote from him. It says, the affirmation of the worth of a human life is accompanied by an implicit democratic declaration that no human subject, whatever their identity, can be excluded from this conception. So basically, it is to say that the attribute of worth is unconditional, no matter who you are, where you come from, what your differences are. And so there are no qualifications whatsoever that you have to pass to have access to this human worth. And I think if we start there, we can really have a conversation about what we are owed as humans and our human worth. And Cornel West often refers to human and humanity as has a root in a Latin concept called humando. He likes to talk about that, which really means burying or death or to bury. And that is the human in all of us, right? That we are placed on this earth with this idea that we can't control our end, right? And that we're all connected to the earth in that way. And there is humility in humanity. And so we have to think about that for each other. So anyway, connection to DEI for Vanessa before she cuts my mic off, is that if we think about those definitions of humanity, and then we look at the practices and things that are going on, we aren't really living up to treating every human with human worth, looking at their human worth and treating them properly and respectfully and with kindness, which is what humanity is defined as. So I think we have a lot of work to do when it comes to meeting that expectation in our schools, when it comes to resources, when it comes to teacher training, in our jobs, when it comes to treating employees fairly, and economically, with equitable pay. There's just a lot of areas where we aren't saying that every human is being treated the same way. And so that's the connection to DEI and humanity, in my opinion.